Hi guys, Mike Misso here, sprint coach from speedandagility.com.au. Now today's video is all about stretches. Now we're very fortunate enough to have Andrew Wild, who is the Sydney Swans Academy physio, who also works for the Kensington Physiotherapist practice at the University of New South Wales. Now Andrew's going to take you through a stretching routine that will simply define the best stretches that you should do before and after training and before and after you play.
Stretch for the plantar fascia. With your toe up against the wall or a block, from there, pushing forward into it just with your knee, making sure this foot on your other side is pointing nice and straight ahead. From there, just holding it. So a calf stretch. So with your feet up against a wedge or a pile of hooks, from there what we're doing is we're just gently leaning forwards until you feel stretching your calves. Now another option to get a different part of your calf is to just bend your knees slightly. It's going to target a little bit of a different portion of your calf and hold. Another option we've got for our calf stretch is into this position. So back foot back is the one you're stretching, the other foot straight ahead as well. Stretching your calves into this position, keeping your heel on the ground and holding. The other option you've got is to target a different muscle in your calves, come forward a little bit towards the other foot, and then just bending your knee down and again holding that position. So a quadricep stretch, coming up into this position with your hand on your foot or your ankle and just pulling towards your buttock, making sure that you're not leaning forwards like that or back, and holding that position with your knee next to your other knee. So a hamstring stretch, into this position with your toes up and your ankle pointing back as well. From there what we're doing is we're just gently leaning forwards into the stretch until you feel it in your hamstring. As a change up, bending your knees slightly, leaning forwards, exactly the same stretch, but we're just going to target more in the belly of the muscle. So another option we've got for our hamstring stretch is into this position with either a towel or a belt on the bottom of your foot. I like to have my knee bent on the other side so it maintains my pelvis position. Once I come down to there, it rotates. So bring it up as soon as you feel a stretch, holding that position. And then from there, we're just going to add a little bit of resistance. So we're just going to push down into the belt or the towel. I'm going to hold that for 5 seconds, up to 10 seconds. And then from there, we're going to release and then just come up a little bit higher. And then we're going to go for about 5 of those. So another hamstring option we've got is putting your foot up onto a bed or a chair, and then from there what we're doing, again, toes to your face, also with your ankle up, and then from there just gently leaning forwards into it. So you're not reaching down for your foot, you're just gently leaning forwards from the hip, and then obviously if we bend our knee again, we're going to target the belly of the muscle a little bit. Again, leaning forwards from the hips, and then from there you'll feel the stretch and hold. So now we're onto our hip flexor stretch. Into this position, okay, making sure your knee's underneath your hip. From there what we're doing is rather than just leaning forwards into it like that, what we're trying to do is tilt our pelvis up. So the bottom of your pelvis up like that. From there you should feel the pull already. Then we're gently leaning into that, and then to add a little bit more of a stretch, we're just bringing our right arm over our head like that, so you feel a stretch all the way down to your hip flexor. So another hip flexor stretch option we've got is into this position. So you're pretty much into a starting position if you're going to run 100. From here what you're doing is the same thing as you were doing before. You're trying to tilt your pelvis, the bottom of your pelvis up. At the same time as you're into that position, you're trying to push your knee down into the ground without actually moving your knee. Now as soon as you do that, you should feel a big pull all the way down through that hip flexor. If you don't, slide your foot back a little bit further and try it again. Set that pelvis, push your knee down, and then you're holding that. So a groin stretch. Big thing with the groin stretch, if you do have any groin related pain that's been diagnosed by a physio or a doctor, I wouldn't recommend stretching your groins as it might actually further injure your groins. So only if you're pain free should you do this. Now, groin stretching through here, so pretty much bringing your heels up towards your bottom. From there, you're just gently pushing out with your elbows down against your knees, and then you're just holding that stretch in through there. You're going to obviously feel it through both sides. So So glute stretch, major muscle groups are really important to stretch. From here what we're doing is we're putting pretty much your ankle on your opposite knee. Then you're grabbing through onto this leg and we're just gently pulling up towards your chest. Now if you want to wind this up a little bit more, you can just gently push this leg out like that at the same time and you will feel the stretch on this side. Another option we've got for our glute is on the ground. Now what we're doing is we're putting our leg like this, so ankle pretty much towards your opposite hip. From there, we're just going to slide the knee back on the opposite side, and then we're just going to lean gently forwards into it like that, until again you're feeling a stretch on through this side, in through your glute. And hold. So another glute option we've got is similar to the one on the ground before. Same position with your leg, but it's a little bit easier in terms of positioning against a bed, bench or chair. From there, same thing, heel or your foot towards your opposite hip, and then from there, just gently leaning forwards into it like that and holding. Again, feeling in that glute. So now this is a low back and it's also a glute stretch. Okay, so what we're doing is we're bringing on my right side, knee to your chest, then from there using the opposite hand, and then you're just from there pulling across your body, keeping this arm and shoulder on the ground, and then from there you're pulling across until you're feeling a stretch. So you should feel it in this glute and then down in through your back on that side. I don't want you pulling all the way across like that, okay, because that's actually not really stretching at all. You need to make sure that you're keeping your hips pretty level and you're not allowing them to drop too much. And again, just holding that. So another option we've got in terms of the low back stretch, it's called the pretzel stretch. This one's a really good stretch to actually target a lot of different muscles. So we're doing a very similar thing in terms of our low back stretch, okay? But at the same time, what we're going to do is we're going to reach up for the opposite leg, okay? Now with this one, your hips do rotate. You're going to hold that down on that right side like I've done. Now on this left side, you're grabbing hold of your ankle or your foot. From there, you're holding that position, okay? You should be feeling it on this side down through your hip flexor and your quad, okay? And you should be feeling in your glute and your lower back on your right side. Obviously holding again, and then repeating on the other side. So this stretch is for your pec muscles, okay? So we're going to do it both sides in one, a little bit easier. So putting your arms in a door frame like that, making sure the actual arm is about parallel to the floor, okay? And then from there what we're doing is we're just leaning gently into the stretch until you're feeling the stretch in through there and through your pec on both sides. I don't want you to bounce and I don't want you to push too far forward that you're really hurting the shoulder. So as soon as you feel it in through the front there, and you're just literally holding, same thing again. So now we've got a tricep stretch. So what we're doing is we're bringing this arm up into this position, so we're stretching this muscle. From here using the opposite arm or hand to grab hold of your elbow, and then from there you're just gently pulling back. So you'll feel like it's pulling all the way down. And again, just holding that. Now we've got a cross body stretch. This one's for the back of your shoulder in through here. Now what we're doing is we're bringing our arm across our body like that. The biggest thing is don't drop your arm down below your shoulder height. So keep it pretty much at shoulder height, and then from there you're holding that position on the side like that. It should look like that, and then you should be feeling it through the back of your shoulder in through there. So another stretch for your back, okay? This one is in between the shoulder blades in through there. Okay, what we're doing is we're grabbing a pole or a door frame. From there you're just putting your feet either side of the door frame or pole, holding that pole. From there you just drop it down into this position, and you're letting your shoulder blades just pull apart, and then you're just holding that position, okay? So now we're into the rolling section. Now everyone that does any type of exercise should get a roll. They're really good at maintaining muscle length and also preventing any injury. So if you don't have one, go out and grab one. Now this is for the back of your legs. So you're going to do it up through your calf into your hamstring. Okay. And then from there what we're doing is we're just rolling into the top of your calf, down into your Achilles like that, taking the weight through your arms and then bending the leg on the other side just to maintain a little bit of stability. Then from there we can work up into the hamstring. Again, taking the weight onto the roller into that hamstring. Again, taking the weight through your arms and the opposite leg. If you want to add a little bit more pressure, take the foot off. So this one's through the front of your shin, through here, okay? So what you're doing is you're finding your actual shin bone, which runs up through there, and you're just working towards the outside of that, so really slide a little bit on the outside. And then from there, same thing, we're just rolling up and down through your tibia, like we were before through the calf. Then what we can do is we can roll further onto the outside through these muscles, your perineums, onto the outside of those, and again, working our way all the way down to the ankle and then back up to the knee. So now we're into the quads. We're going to work into the ITB, up through the hip flexors and also the TFL. Okay, so again, we're just working in through the quad, rolling up and down through the quad, all the way down to your knee and then coming up into your hip. Now obviously you can target the inside a little bit more. We're rolling up through the middle like that. And then if we come onto the outside, your ITB running down through there, it's obviously a very important part of your body to make sure you're loosening it up. Again, taking your time, rolling all the way up on the outside of your leg, down to your knee, all the way up to your hip. And then as you come to your hip, you'll feel your hip bone. If you come a little bit further forwards onto the front, you'll hit that TFL. And then work through the TFL. And then you can work through the bottom portion of that hip flexor as well, and top portion of that quad. So now we're into the glute. So using the roller on the glute's pretty easy. So we're just sitting into this position, just trying to roll that glute out. I like to have my knee down on the side that you're actually rolling out, just to put on a little bit of stretch. The other thing you can do is use the corner of the roller. Again, just going to wind it up a little bit and find the points in and around your glute and sore and maintain a bit of pressure there. Now, another option we've got up our sleeves, obviously using spiky ball, cricket ball, softball, something you can get your hands on. Again, we're rolling around in and around your glute, bending that knee on that side that you're using, and then finding those points in and around your glute that are quite tender. Maintain pressure on there for about 30 seconds, wait until they release, and then from there find a new point and keep working around that glute. And now we're working into the lower back. So a good one to start with is just the crossbody one, where you're literally rolling up and down into the middle of the back. If you wanted to target a little bit further on one side or the other, you're just rolling more onto that side and then all the way up your back. And you can go all the way up into your thoracic spine as well. The other option we've got is obviously lying lengthways on the long roller. Lying lengthways like that, bending those knees, flattening out your spine. And then if we just drop our arms out to that side like that, you can get a really nice stretch in through your pecs, and it's just a good stability exercise as well. And then you can just do a little roll side to side just to get your erector spine, the muscles that run up and down your back. All good.